Good morning, y'all. Spiritual Whistleblower here. Don't mind that noise in the background. That's just construction workers outside of my window. But hey, y'all, I got to give y'all the tea, the update on my white male dance instructor. If you've been following my story, I posted a couple of videos about it. I feel that he's racist and misogynistic, and I stopped attending his classes back in January. Oh, he confronted me finally over the weekend, and I want to tell y'all about it. Okay. First things first, episode 2 of my podcast, My Family Can Kiss My Ass. The second episode will be posted this Friday, August 15th. Okay. Stay tuned for that. I want to shout out my ladies. I passed through DC and Philly over the weekend, and I got some great stories. So like I said, I will upload some of those stories this Friday in episode 2. Now let's get to the story. Now, just to give y'all a little bit of context, I don't want to go through the whole history. You can go watch the videos. I explain. I started to take on a new dance as a hobby, and I had a white male instructor. He's from another country, a Latin, Portuguese, I'll say that. And he was cool at first when I was taking his workshops, his group classes. And then over a period of time, I noticed his behavior started to switch towards me. Making me feel unwelcome, standoffish in different situations. An example, after taking one of his classes, he invited his whole class to go to a party so that we could practice dancing what we learned in his class, right? All the students didn't go, which is me and another white guy. And what ended up happening, all three of us went to the party. It's like 10 o'clock at night. Him and the white guy were having this conversation, so I kind of had to walk behind them just out of respect for their private conversation. But at some point, we approached a busy intersection. The light was changing red, and they both ran across the street to beat the light. I did not do that. I decided to wait. So the light turned red. They crossed the street. I decided to stay. By the time the light turned green, they kept on walking, which means they didn't escort me across the street. They didn't wait for me, nor did they just didn't care. And I thought it was very rude, as a black woman, but I'm a woman. It's 10 o'clock at night. You're my male instructor. I look up to you. Do you not care about my safety? Where are your manners? Where are your etiquette? Would you do this to your white students or your Asian students? And by the way, he has a fetish for Asian women. At these parties, you'll never see him dancing with black women. He loves dancing with Asian women. And in this scene where I'm at in New York City, it is heavily, it's pro-Asian. You're barely going to see black people there. Maybe one or two couples. If we're lucky, two black couples dancing, if we're lucky. So it's white, Brazilian, and heavily Asian at these parties. And him being a white male instructor, Portuguese, his fetish is for Asian women, and that's cool. He can have his preference. If that's what he's into, that's cool. But as a professional dance instructor, and he's the leader of the community and a DJ, he should be setting examples. They preach that they have these community guidelines that they include. They don't tolerate racism in the community. They have other rules about sexual. Men are to behave, don't overstep boundaries, no sexual misconduct. They have, racism, inclusion, and all that. Okay, so if y'all are about, inclusiveness as your community guidelines state, why isn't the leader, constantly pushing that onto the community? In other words, why is he dancing with just one specific race? He dances with white, and I think he dances with Hispanic, but I never see no black women. Okay. And it's also in salsa. It's in other dance genres. The black woman is the last one standing on the wall. Nobody wants to dance with the black woman. Okay. I'm just going to keep it real. Anyway, then I noticed a pattern of him. I tried booking private sessions with him because I took his classes for like 5 months straight. Week after week, I was very, he saw I was passionate. I saw black women pop in and pop out, but they didn't stay consistent like me. He saw I was serious. And so by the end of 2024, I tried to book private sessions with him so that everything that I was learning in his classes, I wanted to reinforce it privately in private sessions with him. He was dodging me. I mean, I was blowing up his Facebook messages. He was ignoring them. Then when I would see him in person at, the workshops, I tapped him on the shoulder. I said, hey, did you see my message on Facebook? I'm trying to book privates. He would shrug me off. He blew me off. But then I would see him open up his schedule to a male in my class. One of my male classmates asked him for privacy. He said, okay, this is when I'm available. I saw this with my own eyes. So I said, what the fuck is this dude's problem with me? Then I started noticing a pattern at all the parties. He was avoiding dancing with black women. Then I saw there's an Asian girl in my class. And I said, why is he always dancing with her at the parties? You invite your students to these parties. Okay, we here now. We're going to practice everything that you taught us in your classes. Your students are here at these parties. Why are you specifically dancing with your Asian students, but you skip over your black student? I saw a pattern of this behavior multiple times. So finally, I got fed up. This was January. I got fed up. And not only that, when he was avoiding me, trying to book private sessions with him, I got fed up. So I posted a public notice. We have a community board on Facebook. Okay. All the dancers are in one community space, like a chat group. And I posted to the group. I said, I'm looking for an instructor because I don't know anybody. I'm new to this community. I'm willing to pay for private lessons. Please private message me if you're interested. Who do y'all recommend? And then people started asking me, well, what are you looking for? I said, well, I'm autistic. I have a developmental disability. I need an instructor that's patient, someone that's kind. I don't want a narcissist, an asshole. I started listing the things that I'm looking for. All of a sudden, this is the dance instructor that's giving me a hard time. All these weeks, he's ignoring my Facebook messages. All of a sudden, when he sees that I post publicly to the community chat board, he gets him the Facebook messages. All of a sudden, he can read. All of a sudden, he can get in touch with me. He gives me his private phone number. Here's Chanel. Here's my phone number. I said, this is weird. I don't want your phone number. Just answer the fucking Facebook message so we can set up these private messages. Why are you putting me through all this? When I take your class week after week, several months in a row, I'm trying to learn this stuff. You as my instructor have been avoiding me for private sessions. I shouldn't have to go through all this. Now he called himself helping me by offering me his phone number. No, he was scared that I was going to expose him in that community chat. I know that now. Finally, I utilized his phone number. I text him directly and I said, I'm tired of going to these parties and I feel isolated and alienated as a black woman. Nobody hardly dances with me. There's like a problem with race. I said, where are all the black people at? I asked him this and I told him, I said, for several months, I said, you even waited to dance with me in December. I've been taking his classes since the summer. And summer all the way up to December, I watched him ignore dancing with me and black women at all these parties for several months. And I watched him dance with Asians and the Asian students in my class. So I told him directly in a text message, I said, you even avoided dancing with me. And I said, do you know how that made me feel? I said, it made me feel unwelcomed. So since he calls himself offering his phone number and saying, I can talk to him about anything and he's trying to extend himself, I took advantage. I texted him directly and told him how I felt. There's a race issue in this community. You, sir, even avoided dancing with me for several months. Crickets. He ignored the text. I said, that's the last time. January, the first week of January will be my last time taking his class. I started taking private sessions with his female. He has a dance partner that he tours, and they book gigs and they book stuff all over the world, I guess, teaching classes together. So I booked with her. She came highly recommended by, when I post on the community board, everybody said, go with her. But come to find out, she's protecting him because while I'm taking private sessions with her, she's encouraging me to go back to the dance parties. And I said, him and her must have had a conversation about me. While he's ignoring me, he's telling her to suck me back into the party. I said, no, let's address the fucking issue. So I would not give her any information. Once I saw that she was defending and protecting him and she didn't want to even hear my side of the story. They working together. You understand me? Fast forward to May. 5 months pass. I see him again in person at a dance convention in Canada. He comes right up to me and hugs me 3 different occasions. I see him in person. He makes no mention of the race issue, ignores the text message, doesn't invite me to come back. You know, Chanel, we missed you. You can always come back. He mentions nothing. I said, okay, I see what's going on here. So I decided to put them on blast on my Facebook. I didn't mention his name, but I posted a bit very public. I said, there is a race issue going on here. I'm tired of this and that. I brought the issue up to an instructor. He ignored me and dismissed me. Once I went public with it, now everybody's trying to reach out to me. Everybody wants to do damage control. He's sending his people in my inbox. No, you shouldn't have fucking ignored me to begin with. So y'all, here we go. Over the weekend, I saw him in Washington, D.C. I ignored the fuck out of him. I did not take any of his classes. He did teach a class or 2 in D.C. I took all the other instructors' classes. I ignored his class. There was a dance party in D.C. and in the nighttime. I'm sitting there, enjoying watching people dance. I got a lot of dances. D.C. was lit. I'm going to just tell you, I got a lot of dances in. The whole different community, whole different vibe. I'm sitting, taking a break on the side. He jumps in my face and says, hey, you want to dance? You can always talk to me. I don't feel comfortable talking to you right now with you feeling this way. But, I'm here to talk anytime you want to. I was boiling, okay? Because at that moment, I wanted to cuss him the fuck out. Because this passive aggressive stuff, I don't play. Don't do the passive aggressive with me. You can't. So the back of my mind, I said, this is his way of trying to extract narcissistic supply out of me. Don't give him an emotional reaction. I looked him dead in the face and I said, shook my head. No, I didn't say nothing. I did not want to give him an emotional reaction. He said, okay, then he walked off. Mind y'all, I wrote him up. I wrote a very detailed complaint to his supervisor about everything I'm telling y'all. I wrote and documented it, and I sent it to his people over him, the people that pay his bills and book him to DJ and teach. I've sent it to them, and I specified, I documented, I said, I feel he's a racist and a misogynist. I don't want to talk to him. I'm not taking any more of his classes. And I said, please let him know he is to stay away from me, not just in New York. If I travel anywhere and I see him, tell him to stay away from me. Don't talk to me, and I won't talk to him. Why is he violating boundaries? He's already, y'all, they just disregarded my wishes. He's in my face. I said, this is not even about squashing anything. This is about them doing damage control. So that's how I handled it. I stayed silent and I just shook my head. No. You got to stand on business with your boundaries. You cannot tell them you're cutting them off. You just have to do it internally. Internally cut them off and distance yourself, and then stand on business with your actions. They still don't take me serious. It's about them doing damage control. It's cool though. I know how I'm going to handle this. I'm just going to be tight-lipped, and I'm going to move in silence, and I'm going to be strategic. Because now, why do you want to talk now? When I wanted to talk back in January, and it was a very serious matter, as my instructor, someone I look up to and respect, you should have said, you know what, Chanel? I really wish we had more Black people. You're right. I wish there was a way that, if you could help us and give us suggestions. We want to make this community better. We value you. We want you to keep coming back. Don't give up. He should have said something in that moment. He had an opportunity. He's the leader of the community, but he blew me the fuck off. Now they want to talk. Yeah, because I went public and I put them on blast. Y'all let me know what y'all think in the comments. Please watch for episode 2 this Friday of My Family Can Kiss My Ass podcast. I love you guys. Take care.